I'm originally from Iran. My name is Bahar Royaee, and I have been in United States since 2012, and I'm currently a PhD student at Graduate Center. I'm studying with Susan Farine and Jason Eckhart. Um, um, I back in Iran, I was studying electrical engineering before I studied music, and but music was part of my life since my childhood, and because it started from my childhood, I don't think I necessarily um, um, did something. It was the music that was around, and it just happened to be there, especially through the um, films that my teacher gave me, a biography of Chopin, for instance, and then I was just watching those films, and I think I developed something to listen to music, and also Iranian music that was my father's favorite. So these two has been always there. I started playing piano again. My parents chose it. It wasn't me. They chose the piano for me, and but I fell in love with it. And because I was the only child, I think music became my only friend most of the times. And I I think yeah, that's it. I always wanted to be a musician. Like if they were asking me, what do you want to do? I would say I want to be a musician. But it was not a solid thing to say back in Iran. So I studied electrical engineering. And then after 4 years, I was like, I can't do this. And I just wanted to study music. So I went to Malaysia. I studied for 2 years there. I finished the core classes, music classes, and then I went to Boston to continue, and now I'm here.
So you have a very interesting path. Background in engineering. I would like to know if the background in engineering still plays any role in your creative life. But then you go to Malaysia, and then from Malaysia to Boston, and from Boston to New York.
Yes,
So
yes.
tell me a little bit about the switch from engineering to going to school to study music in Malaysia.
Well, I could not see myself as an engineer. I was working as an engineer. I was working as the designer for the circuits of the buildings, electrical circuits. Um, I always loved math and physics. But that was a separate thing. I could not see myself sitting in an office doing a job that was not um, really fulfilling whatever that I was looking for. There was a desire, I think, Professor, that I wanted to um, work on things that I had some ideas about. I don't know, like I was interested in poetry. I was interested in other kinds of stuff besides like electrical engineering. I just could not see myself. As much as I enjoyed the logic behind it, the illogical path behind it, the quantum physics, which still today I'm thinking about a lot. But um, music was something that um, I think that anything that I could not feel the time, it became more valuable to me. So, and I think music was that thing. It was not, in fact, music was always there, and this electrical engineering jumped into my life. It wasn't that electrical engineering was there, and then I decided to be a musician. It was the other way around.
Ah, interesting, interesting. And does the engineering, aside from your continued interest in quantum physics and being adept at math, is the electrical engineering in any way sort of inform your life as a composer?
I'm sure anything that I've experienced, I'm sure has an impact on the way that I compose, perhaps. I mean, anything, probably. So electrical engineering was one of those as well. I can see sometimes that how I connect things. It's possible that I have this image of the past that it just reflects itself on something that I'm going to work on new. Um, also, electronic music. It I don't think it's related to electrical engineering because that was another. It's own field, but. I'm also very interested in programming and like having other having another like a hybrid level of music as well. Um, but I honestly don't know if it's. I'm sure the music is becoming a synthesis of everything that has been happening to me before. So I can't
That's
say
what
and
I think of us.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, yeah. But I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, please continue.
I was wondering, so, I mean, you also mentioned poetry as being really important to you. And your music does strike me as having this this level of it's sort of rhetorical in an interesting way,
Mhm.
but it's a type of sung rhetoric.
Hmm.
Um, and so when you mentioned poetry, I was like, well, of course. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about your connection with poetry.
I think poetry is a very solid part of Iranian culture. It is very inherited in every aspect. Like you just sit in a car and you just see a car in front of you and it says, um, it's a poetry written behind the van. Um, to say something about this driver, which sometimes a truck has this sentences like the love is the mother and the love is like it's just a citing of the poetry that's written over there. It's everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And the grandmas and grandfathers usually and they pass by and say something and in poetry to you, and it's just a or at least in my family it was very solid and so I think I grew up with it. um, so the word is became a way to um, express. I think it became something beyond just words to me at least. And even I when I was um, when I was young I started to write poetry as well, but then I switched like so many other things that I switched away. Uh, but so still I think when the image the space that the poetry makes, that is the aim for me. I think I want to um, point at it with sounds, like breaking the space with sounds of breaking the space of the words in a way that it's just vertically makes this 90-degree of its space and the sounds. I don't know how I can explain it properly.
Yeah.
But so it became important to me, especially because I have an uncle who is a poet in Iran, and so just it was it was there. I was lucky, and that was a privilege that I had. I think that my mom, my father, everybody were just it was just there. This um, words are there.
I think it's amazing that your description of being in a car and seeing the truck in front of you, and on the back of it is a poem or a poetic phrase to describe something. But it's an everyday situation, almost not just even an everyday situation, but it's a situation that otherwise would go completely unnoticed.
Yes,
Or
exactly.
being around members of your family where one of the modes of communication is through poetic. phrases that people would know. This is a very different way
Yes.
of living a life than, say, in the United States. I can assure you, as you have experienced, it's not like people are communicating with poetry.
Well, I think it happens in the in raps rap singing, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but
No,
I
yeah,
think it happens like they cite the poetry, they express the anger, they express the happiness, anything goes through the words. In New York especially, I think the graffitis on the walls and
oh, yeah,
those are very striking to me. It's just
right.
yeah.
There, anything that's non-musical in your life that is really important to you that may or may not connect with your creative life?
Films,
Mm,
um, especially films that are really dealing, or perhaps for lack of a better word, struggling with time, like Tarkovsky's films. um, Films of post new realism of Italy, like Fellini, very much so. Like this contrast between the fantasy and reality. It's just it has been always striking to me.
Juliet of
Um,
the Spirits.
Sorry.
You know Juliet of the Spirits?
Yes, yes, one of my favorites.
That's a
It's
great,
actually my favorite film of him. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
I love that film. The first time,
exactly.
yeah, I mean, the first time I saw it, I thought to myself, what is going on? Whatever it is, it's fantastic, but I have no idea what it really is.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a fascinating film. That is exactly like the moment at the end that she looks back, and it's like, am I accepting this fantasy, or is it the reality, or this contrast, um, which um, if you live in two different worlds, one that is so about symbols and like all these cultural symbols, and then you come to United States, everything is about, you just follow the reality, um, or again, I don't know, this duality, it has been with me, and in Fellini's films became very striking. I just was looking for some fun things. There are TV shows that my friend and I watch, and they're basically from Iran, and we just laugh because some of them are so bad. Um,
not because
uh,
they're funny or good, but because they're so bad.
yeah, yeah, it's just funny that some things are not working. It's just, and they're so serious. So yeah,
That's fantastic. That's great. Well, thank you so much for having this conversation. I'm really looking forward to your new piece that's going to
thank
be
you.
performed at the end of the conference. And I will see you soon.
Thank you so much, Professor. It was a pleasure talking with you in this time. Many thanks.